Good morning, students. Today we will discuss about Sultans of Delhi. As we know, Delhi has been the capital city for several kingdoms for many years. It is centrally located on the banks of river Yamuna. It was an important trade center as well. Many rulers they wanted to control the Indian subcontinent from here, and it is used to be the target of the invaders for centuries. Muhammad Ghori also made two attempts and eventually overcame the forces of Prithviraj Chauhan to establish his kingdom in Delhi. In this chapter, we shall study about the various rulers of Delhi Sultanate. The dynasty that ruled Delhi. The period from 1206 to 1526 CE is called the period of Delhi Sultanate. During this period, five different dynasties ruled Delhi region. These were the Slave dynasty, the Khalji dynasty, the Tughlaq dynasty, the Sayyid dynasty, and the Lodi dynasty. But before we go on to the history of Delhi Sultanate, let us see the sources of information which give us an account of what happened in this period. The coins, architecture of buildings, mosques, the accounts of foreign travelers, and those of the court chroniclers give us a lot of information about the state of development and activities of the people of those times. Like the famous traveler Ibn Battuta came from Morocco, and his travelogues provide us valuable information about the reign of Muhammad Tughlaq. Hassan Nizami, a migrant from Ghazni, provides us information about Qutbuddin Aibak. Literary works of Minaj Siraz called Tabaqat-e Nasiri tell us about Delhi Sultans. Ziauddin Barani lived in the court of Muhammad bin Tughlaq and Firoz Tughlaq and wrote an account about Tariq-e-Firoza Shahi, which also gives us an account of political history of Delhi Sultans. Now we'll start with the slave dynasty. And the rulers of slave dynasty are Qutbuddin Aibak, Iltutmish, Razia Sultan, and Ghiyasuddin Balban. Qutbuddin Aibak. He was the founder of slave dynasty. He was a slave of Muhammad Ghori who helped him in winning the second battle of Tarain in 1192 CE. He was appointed by Muhammad Ghori to look after his territory in India, and after the death of Ghori, he declared himself the Sultan in 1206 CE and ruled from Delhi. He was a great commander and tried to strengthen his position with the help of marriage alliances. Aibak, he was famous for his generosity and was called as Lakh Baksh, means giver of lakhs. He was a patron of art and architecture who always supports art. Do you know the construction of Qutub Minar started during his time, but it was completed later after the rule of Iltutmish. He also built a mosque called Quwwatul Islam. He could not follow his policy of expansion as he ruled only for 4 years and fell while riding a horse and died in 1210 CE. After the death of Qutbuddin Aibak, Iltutmish was placed on the throne. Iltutmish, he was the son-in-law of Qutbuddin Aibak. He faced many difficulties during his reign. To keep a check on the powers of nobles, he organized a team of 40 loyal slaves who kept him informed of the happenings in the kingdoms. He was able to check the Mongol invasion from the northwest frontier and with his diplomatic skills. He also followed an aggressive policy towards the Rajputs. He divided the empire into Iktas provinces which were given to the nobles, and they had to maintain law and order and collect revenues from Iktas. These nobles were headed the Iktas were also known as Iktadars or Muktis. He introduced silver tanka and the copper jitals, which were the coins issued from Delhi. He was a skillful administrator, organizer, and a diplomat. Razia Sultan. Razia Sultan was the first and the last Muslim woman ruler to sit on the throne of Delhi. She was the daughter of Iltutmish. After the death of Iltutmish, his son Ruskuddin was placed on the throne, but as he was incompetent and poor in administration, Razia overthrew him. She had all the qualities of a great ruler, but it was not acceptable for the nobles to be subordinate to a woman, and therefore the nobles of Multan, Lahore, and Badaut revolted against her. They accused her of giving preference to Malik Yaqut, whom she raised to a high position of administrative power. Serious rebellion was instigated by Altunia. Altunia, the governor of Bhatinda. Razia marched towards Bhatinda to end the rebellion along with her trusted Malik Yaqut. But they were stopped and Yaqut was killed and she was imprisoned. The throne of Delhi was taken over by her other brother Bahrain. Seeing no way out of custody, Razia married Altunia and then they both tried to overthrow Bahrain from Delhi but failed and got killed. She was known to be an icon of strength and took on the orthodox social system of those days. She dressed and acted in a manner which displayed great courage. She was a great administrator. After Razia Sultan, a number of weak sultans came to the throne of Delhi till 1266 CE. Ghiyasuddin Balban. Ghiyasuddin Balban, he was one of the great rulers of the slave dynasty and followed the policy of blood and iron. He tried to strengthen his hold over the kingdoms by taking the following measures. He introduced an efficient spy system to keep a watch on the activities of the nobles, governors, and other officials. He put forward the policy of divine rights of the kings, according to which the Sultan is the representative of God on earth. He introduced the practice of sajda. This was a practice where people were required to kneel and touch the ground with their forehead in salutation to the king, like it is done for the gods. He maintained strict discipline in the court and maintained distance from the courtiers or the nobles. He himself kept control over the entire administration and made appointments as per his wish. He protected the kingdom from attacks of Mongols and he constructed a strong forts on the frontiers and kept the forces there. Personally, he maintained self discipline. He quit drinking and indulging in excess. He never appeared casual in public life and dressed formally when outside his quarter. So, we discussed about slave dynasties and the rulers of slave dynasties. Now, we will discuss about Khalji dynasty. And the rulers of the Khalji dynasty are Jalaluddin Firoz Khalji and Alauddin Khalji. Jalaluddin Firoz Khalji. The slave dynasty collapsed within 4 years of the death of Balban. The power struggle commenced amongst the others who had ambition to take over the throne. Jalaluddin Khalji was the commander of the army under the grandson of Balban, took advantage of the situation and laid down the foundation of Khalji dynasty as rulers of Delhi. Unfortunately, he himself was 70 years of age when he captured Delhi and he was soon murdered by his nephew Alauddin Khalji. Alauddin Khalji, he was a great military commander and as administrator. He had ambition to be a world conqueror like Alexander. According to him, all the revolts that were taking place were because nobles were leading a luxurious life and they were always doing conspiracies. He observed that the network of spies was weak. To check the trend, he took the following measures. He organized a successful system of spies to keep a watch on nobles and governors, banned the sale of wine and restricted social gatherings of nobles, seized the properties of the nobles which they had received as gifts or grants. Other than his strict administrative policies, he also brought some new economic policies like regulations of the prices of essential goods, then controlling the sale of the items so that everyone could get them, appointing inspectors to ensure that traders sell the goods at the fixed price and do not hoard, sending spies to keep a check on any irregularities, keeping a check on weights and measures, establishing a system of godowns to store grains after crops and release the same when required, and punishing the offenders. He has some policies like revenue policy to ensure that he maintained enough stock of food and had enough money for his army. He raised the tax level to 50% of the produce of the peasants. This was also known as Kharaj. In addition to this, there were taxes on cattle and house as well. The land revenue was based on calculation of yield. All lands was declared as state land. He confiscated all those lands which were given to various sections of population by previous rulers. Then the second one is security of the northwest frontiers. To secure his kingdom, he repaired the old forts on the northwest frontiers and appointed special governors. Strong armies were stationed at Multan, and responsibility of defending the borders was given to experienced generals like Zafar Khan and Malik Ghaffur. Alauddin succeeded in establishing a vast major empire in India. In the northwest, it extended up to the river Indus. In the east, it extended in areas of Uttar Pradesh, Orissa, Bihar, and part of Bengal. In the north, the empire extended from Punjab to the Vindhyas. In the south, except the Pandya rulers, all other accepted his control over them. So we discussed Khalji dynasty. Now the next is Tughlaq dynasty. And the rulers of Tughlaq dynasty are Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, Muhammad bin Tughlaq, and Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq. A war of succession broke after Alauddin Khalji death, and the power ultimately went to Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq. He came into power after defeating Khusru and killing him. After becoming the Sultan, he tried to win over the nobles who had helped him to come into power. He restored the lands to nobles which were taken away by Alauddin Khalji. He encouraged agriculture and improved the means of irrigation. He was an able administrator. The famous fort of Tughlaqabad was built by him. He died accidentally in 1325 CE, and his son Muhammad bin Tughlaq became the ruler. Muhammad bin Tughlaq, yes. He was a great poet, scholar, a devout Muslim, and a brave general. He did not allow the ulema to dominate him. Ulema is the Muslim scholar. He followed the policy of annexation. He was extremely ambitious. He spelled out various policies, but the execution of policies was very weak. Therefore, he ended up cancelling his own policies. This made him a laughing stock and a subject of ridicule. Even today, if any person of authority gives out an order which is incorrect and unplanned, it is called as Tughlaqi Farman by people. Let us look at some of the policies that were reversed, like taxation in Doab. Doab is the area between the two rivers. Muhammad bin Tughlaq needed money to expand his kingdom. He increased the tax on the Doab area, which was very fertile. It was the area located between Ganga and Yamuna rivers. The tax was increased at a time when the monsoon failed and agriculture failed miserably, leading to a famine. The revenue collector insisted on collecting the tax and tried to use force. The farmers revolted against the revenue collectors. Once the Sultan came to know of the matter, he withdrew his order. As the timing of increase in taxation was inappropriate, the ruler became very unpopular. Then, use of token currency. Tughlaq issued copper coins and kept their value at par with the gold and silver ones, which were in circulation earlier. The scheme failed as the Sultan did not keep a control over the issue of new coins. The people of the state started minting their own fake coins of higher value, which led to a large-scale circulation of fake coins. The people kept the original silver coins with them. Tughlaq realized his mistake after failure of his scheme and withdrew his entire currency. He then exchanged the entire copper coins by silver coins, which led him to suffer huge losses. And the next one is transfer of capital. He shifted his capital from Delhi to Daulatabad because Delhi was repeatedly under the threat of attack by the Mongols. Devagiri, an area in the Deccan, was renamed as Daulatabad. Due to his decision, the people had faced lots of hardships as he had ordered the entire population to move to a very far off place in those days when transportation facilities does not exist. He himself also moved to Daulatabad. Later, when he realized that the control of the northwestern frontiers was impossible from Daulatabad, he reversed his order and again shifted the capital back to Delhi. Muhammad bin Tughlaq faced rebellion in different parts of his empire during this last few years of his reign. He died in 1351 CE due to illness. Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Muhammad bin Tughlaq was succeeded by Firoz Shah Tughlaq. He tried to improve agriculture and worked for the welfare of the peasants. Loans were waived off in case of droughts. He constructed a number of canals and many wells to provide irrigational facilities. He also built some important towns like Hisar, Jaunpur and Firozabad. He imposed jizya, a tax on non-Muslims. He provided financial help to deserving people. He was a patron of learning and got numerous Sanskrit books translated into Persian. He based the judicial system on Islamic laws. He abolished the practice of torture. He built many rest houses for the travelers. But as he was not an able warrior, so no significant conquest was made by him. His successors were also not very competent. The invasion of Timur. Timur invasion gave a severe blow to Tughlaq's rule in 1398 CE. Timur was a Turkish chief who ruled over a large empire in Central Asia. He attacked Delhi and ordered a general massacre which ruined the city of Delhi. He took away the wealth of India to Central Asia. Once Timur left India, Once Timur left India and returned to his empire, the throne of Delhi was left to the hands of the deputy Khizr Khan. The Sayyid dynasty. The rulers of Sayyid dynasty are Khizr Khan, Mubarak Khan, Muhammad Shah and Alam Shah. Khizr Khan, he established the Sayyid dynasty. His dynasty had four rulers, namely Mubarak Shah, Muhammad Shah and Alam Shah in addition to Khizr Khan. This dynasty did not leave any significant mark on the history of Delhi. Then the Lodi dynasty, and the rulers of Lodi dynasty are Bahlul Lodi, Sikandar Lodi and Ibrahim Lodi. Bahlul Lodi, he was an Afghan. He laid the foundation of Lodi dynasty and he was succeeded by Sikandar Lodi, who is regarded as the greatest king of the Lodi dynasty. Now we will discuss about Sikandar Lodi. Sikandar Lodi, he re-established his authority in Jaunpur and Bihar and also signed a treaty of non-aggression with the Sultans of Bengal. His area extended from Punjab to the borders of Bengal. He was a great scholar and wrote poems in Persian. Then Ibrahim Lodi. Ibrahim Lodi, he was the son of Sikandar Lodi. He succeeded his father in 1517 CE. He became unpopular among the nobles as he tried to replace some of the older nobles and punished some prominent ones. He had to face a lot of rebellion by the nobles. Revolts broke out in many parts of his kingdom. Finally, Alam Khan, the Sultan's uncle, and Daulat Khan Lodi, the governor of Punjab, invited Babur, the ruler of Kabul, to invade India. The first battle of Panipat took place in 1526 CE. Ibrahim Lodi was killed and Delhi Sultanate came to an end and the era of Mughal rule commenced. Causes of decline. The Delhi Sultanate saw its decline in the early 16th century, but the reason for this decline can be various policies which gradually weakened their rule. Broadly, they can be summarized as follows. Lack of rules of successions. There were no fixed rules of succession in the dynasties. There were bitter rivalries and struggle for supremacy among the subordinates or sons to gain supremacy due to jealousy. Power of the nobles. The nobles became powerful by having provinces to rule or control. The kings were dependent on them for revenue and survival. Gradually, these nobles assumed themselves to be kings and fractured the kingdoms into smaller states. Then, policies of arrogance. There were many rulers who were extremely autocratic and harsh on the people. They considered themselves to be gods. This was a major cause of discontentment among the people. Inconsistency of policies. Each ruler brought his own policy. There was no streamlining in governance. Kings changed policies at will whenever it is suited for them. The judicial and administrative system were not smooth and kept varying. The imposition of tax on non-Muslims started dividing the society. The end of Sultanate brought about a change of rulers and dynasties by foreigners. The Mughal Empire set foot on the Indian subcontinent, and you shall study about them in the next chapter. So in this chapter, we studied about the various dynasties and the rulers which ruled these various dynasties. The slave dynasties was ruled by Qutbuddin Aibak, Iltutmish, Razia Sultan, Ghiyasuddin Balban. The Khalji dynasty ruled by Alauddin Khalji and Jalauddin Firoz Khalji. Then the Tughlaq dynasty ruled by Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, Muhammad bin Tughlaq and Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Then the invasion of Timur happened, and after that the Sayyid dynasty established, which was ruled by Khizr Khan, Mubarak Shah, Muhammad Shah and Alam Shah. Then last the Lodi dynasty, and the important rulers of Lodi dynasty are Bahlul Lodi, Sikandar Lodi and Ibrahim Lodi. And finally the causes of decline of Delhi Sultanate. Then with this, end of this chapter. Thank you.